Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. Fear is a disease that can ruin your life. You know, they say that if you face your fears, they disappear. And if you really start to think about that and consider what that truly means, it starts to become very apparent that it is the only way for you to destroy, master, conquer, beat your fears. Because until you face them, they constantly exist and remain and control you. So it's vital to understand that you must face your fears, and the only way for you to defeat them is to face them head on. So this is what I want to talk to you guys today about, is basically, as the title says, do what scares you. Right now, like many things that we discuss on the Forever Better Academy podcast, a lot of the things, the concepts, the ideas, the traits in these tools at first may seem very counterintuitive, and the reason I feel that that's probably the case is because these things go against the grain, and this is why you see the masses of people doing the same things that seem like the right approach, but it actually is restrictive or hold you back in a sense, right? So when you start to see and understand that if you can flip these things on their heads and reverse the way you look at things, you can also reverse the outcomes you're experiencing, right? So when I was younger, I can remember we went to a school camp. It was, I think, grade 8, maybe grade 9, right? And we were sitting one evening in a sort of rec room later after our adventures for the day, and seeing as we were amongst, camping and canoeing and doing, rock climbing and everything that was, real outdoors adventure stuff, the camp owners and the teachers decided it'd be good for us to just chill out for the night and watch a video on base jumping. So for those of you, if you've never heard of base jumping, imagine skydiving, but basically not out of a plane, like jumping off a cliff or jumping off the top of a building, something like that. I can't remember the letters stand for the areas you jump off, the BASE, but that's irrelevant to the whole concept anyway. So just like literally throw on a parachute, run to the edge of a mountain and jump off the side, and yeah, just epic, right? And I remember watching this when I was like, I must have been, 13, 14 years old, and just being like, yeah, I want to do that. That looks awesome. Just that, when you're young and you're excited because you're starting to understand the your independence and the world that, is placing its carpet out in front of you for you to experience. You're right on the cusp of your adulthood, and also perhaps on the edge of that youthful naivety where you don't know the real risks or danger involved in what's exciting you. But I was all about it. Like I couldn't wait to do stuff like that. I saw other kids were watching this scared out of their minds, and I was like, I want to do this, and I think there was just this excitement to try things. It was like when you go to those amusement parks, and you get on a roller coaster and it's scary, but it's almost like a safe way to experience that because you're strapped in and it's highly unlikely that anything's going to occur to you. It's as controlled and safe as it can be, right? So the same kind of excitement and just anticipation of what kind of experiences I can go and have as I become an adult. And I wanted to do all kinds of stuff like the usual, the bungee jumping and skydiving, besides the base jumping, like swimming in the cages with the sharks, all this stuff. I was never afraid of any of these ideas. More excited and enthralled by what kind of cool things I could do and just live, right? Genuinely just excited with life. And as as a sort of go over the years and through the motions of just living and working your day job and whatever else is expected of you, unless you take that action and make conscious effort and set up those things to occur, they're not going to happen without you putting the effort in to go and do them, right? So I think when I was young and as a chef and was making very, very little money, so it became easy to make that an excuse, like when I was in my first year of my apprenticeship as a chef, I was working seven, no, most 6 days a week, most weeks, and I would be doing massive hours, 60 to 80 hours a week, right? Learning my craft. And at the time when I came on board, and the owners of the restaurant, I don't think there was anything spiteful in it, but I don't think they really understood the penalty rates and structure of an apprenticeship. So I was basically paid a flat wage for the time, and I remember doing, as I say, 60 to 80 hours a week, and at the end of the week, I would take home after tax $184. $184. The only way that was even possible for me to survive on was I was living at home at the time, and just crazy, right? But just to demonstrate my point being that at the time I had very little money, so it became easy to not make that an excuse, but that was my reality, right? It's if you've got that money for the week, you don't exactly have disposable income or a lot of play money laying around where you can go and do skydiving and whatever else it may be. So it was easy to make excuses, right? And then ultimately, as you start to mature, I got a bit older. That genuine fear of death, like that's what the sort of rush of these things is. You're pushing yourself to the edge of life and death, this experience, and that's the rush, right? So started to make those excuses, and then I noticed over time the fear was building in me. It was getting stronger. It was getting bigger, because what I didn't realize, as I hesitated, and in sort of taking action to achieve those things, I just sort of let my circumstances dictate what I was capable of, rather than asking myself, how do I improve my skills or make more money so I can do these things that I'm excited to do. I just sort of let life and my circumstance lead the way rather than myself. And as I did that, and as I hesitated, and those years rolled on, what I didn't realize was actually occurring was I was confirming those small levels of fear that I was experiencing, and it was building upon my mind's decision that it was best to avoid these things that had fear behind them, because they were dangerous. And my fear just grew and grew and grew. And it was almost like that, like that feedback loop, just confirming and making that belief pattern stronger and stronger and harder to break, because for so many years I've been putting it off, putting off doing these things that were dangerous and that are dangerous. And life and age just occur, and then before you know it, it's been 10 plus years where you've just been avoiding the things that you wanted to do, and now the fears become so great. I can recall no fear originally, no fear about bungee jumping or any of those things, just genuine excitement to go and do them. And then I remember reflecting on this and looking at and considering, to go and do bungee jumping, and at one point in my life, genuinely being so paralyzed by fear that I just couldn't dream of doing those things. And it was like I was a whole nother person. Like I completely changed from being this ambitious and excited and energetic kid, to this overly cautious grown man that just was so shook and scared by these activities that, just thinking through and imagining them occurring was overwhelming and causing me that fear or anxiety around standing on that platform and jumping, right? And what changed was when I started going through the whole journey, right, with my self development and learning more about myself and how to operate and get the most out of myself in life. I started to realize the things that I'm afraid of, that are holding me back. The reason that I'm scared of those things is because they're pushing me out of my comfort zone. They're forcing me to move beyond my limitations when I don't feel ready. And that's where the fear comes from, because it's the fear of the unknown. Not so much the fear of being hurt or dying or getting injured. Obviously, that's a part of, the risk you take in those activities, but just afraid potentially of my inability to step up, right? To step up to the plate and take that action, right? Genuinely fearful of that. Actually scared, like a real fear. And the more I started to understand that, and knowing that to face your fears is, makes them disappear, I understood I have to do these things. I can't let this fear take hold of me and take control of me, because if it does, I'm at the mercy of an emotion, and I never want to be controlled by my emotions. You have to remain clear, think clearly, understand the control you actually have when you have clarity and control over your mind, right? And it was so daunting, and then shifting that in my mind to understand, moving towards those fears has been an absolute game changer for me. Even little things, and this is an important note to remember when you're working on any element of your self improvement or development or your self mastery. You want to make your opportunities to succeed as great as possible, and you want to do the opposite what the fear was doing to me. You want to confirm those belief patterns and those behaviors that are beneficial to you. So you do it in small incremental steps, right? So little things like let's say, for example, you're afraid to talk to women. The first thing you need to do is go and talk to a woman. Just go say hello, have a chat. It doesn't have to be like ask them on a date, but just as an example, right? The little things like you realize and this is simple, I'm starting small, right? You don't, once you talk to a woman, you're not going to die from talking to her. Like the worst thing that she's going to say to you is leave me alone or go away, and then you go talk to a different one, right? Like it's not a big thing. Another experiment that I've seen and heard about people trying, and I've tried this too. It's really interesting, and it's funny doing this. People often, it seems, are afraid to ask for a discount, right? So a great experiment that I've tried, and it's funny when it works, and it's funny when it doesn't too. You've got to see both sides. So next time you go and buy a coffee, right? Go to a coffee store, order your coffee, and then once they've rung up your order, just ask them, "Can I have 10% off?" And just see what happens, right? Like there's no, you might feel silly doing it, and there's fear because you're afraid of how people will see you, or they may tell you, why should I give you a discount? But I mean, it's not a dangerous outcome, or it's not going to, materially affect your life and change everything, right? But if they refuse you, but the action and facing that small fear in doing that can materially change your life, because you're confirming those new beneficial behaviors and patterns, right? As you do that, you build upon them, and you get, say, 5 or 6 or 7 small wins on top of each other. You start to teach your mind, oh, okay, cool. When I do these things, I get a good outcome, and you start to imprint that belief on yourself that you're capable, and that's how you start to crush that fear. You're facing the small fears in baby steps, and when you start to see the things that aren't worth being afraid of, then you can leap to those bigger steps, and then you start having those wins, and then you keep going and going, and that's basically, as it compounds over time. So when doing the coffee thing, right, I've gone up to I think one of the first times I tried it, and I was at a Starbucks, and asked, can I have a 10% discount? And the girl at the counter was like, okay, sure. And just gave me a discount. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I've discovered something. This is cool, right? It is no fear here. And it's such a thing, because it feels out of character to ask for a discount for no reason. Because, I mean, coffee in Australia is expensive, right? So you go to Starbucks, might buy a large coffee, it's like $6, like just ridiculously overpriced for a coffee, right? But when you get a discount and they give it to you for $5, that's a significant discount, like it's cool, right? Like I know it's silly, like it's only a few dollars or whatever it may be, or if it's a $2 coffee, you get it for half price, whatever. But it's more so going through the motions. And there's been other times when I've asked, and after I got excited, right? And this is the thing too, if you have those small wins and you face your fears and you get a good outcome, it doesn't happen every single time, right? Like sometimes it doesn't go your way, and that's important to remember. If it doesn't change the fact that you're still capable, and you can step up to your fears, right? Like, you might not get the outcome that you're expecting, but the fear of asking for being judged or what might occur didn't occur, so you still won anyway, right? So another time, after this had worked a couple of times, I went, asked for a discount on the coffee, and they were just like, no. Like, just dead, like, looked at me like, you're a fool. Why should we give you a discount? Like, it's a few dollars for a coffee, just pay the price. And it didn't hurt me. Like, I just learned, it was a funny experience, and I can tell you and share it with you guys now. So going through those motions, and that has to be your plan of attack, to really go and towards your fears. Use it as an indicator. It's a powerful thing. If you're afraid of public speaking, the best thing you can do, and this, I mean, it seems almost ridiculously obvious when you actually think about it, right? How do you destroy your fear of public speaking? You speak in public. There's no other way. If you avoid speaking in public, you're not suddenly going to wake up and go, you know what, I think I'm ready now. I think I'm cool to speak in public. You're solidifying that fear. You're confirming that your decision to avoid the things you're afraid of is the right decision. And then more fear creeps in other areas of your life and paralyzes you. Speaking in public, and maybe I'm biased from this because I spent 15 years performing in front of thousands of people, and like I'm you probably think I'm sick in the head. I love getting in front of people. Man, if there's 10,000 people looking at me and I'm like doing a show and performing and everyone's excited and they're enjoying, the energy's good, I feed off that. I cannot get enough of it. The feeling when you know that you're in that zone and in unison with those people, it's the coolest feeling. But I never would have known that or experienced that feeling if I was afraid the first time that I stood on a stage and I let it define me and dictate that, oh, this is the box I fit in. I'm afraid of public speaking. That's who I am. Another person that I really admire and respect is a man, Jim Quick, and one of his quotes that just I feel is powerful and really resonates with me. I want to share with you is basically, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. It's powerful, right? If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. When you really start to absorb that and understand that, you start to see how foolish it is almost to say that you can't do something or to say that you're not good at something. You're solidifying that. You're defining who you are. We are what we repeatedly do. As Aristotle, we are built of the habits and the actions that we take on a daily basis. So the more that we tell ourselves that we're afraid or we can't do something or we're not good at something, that becomes our reality. It becomes our truth. It becomes our identity. And we have complete control to flip that around. We don't have to live within that box or that definition that society has given us, or our experiences and the way we've approached them give us that understanding of who we are. It can shift. And when I started to do that and face those little fears, I built more confidence. I started to understand, oh, if I'm not afraid to talk to a girl, or if I'm not afraid to be embarrassed by asking for a discount on coffee, or I'm not afraid to stand on stage and make a fool of myself. Even another one that I thought was funny is like get in front of a shopping center and start singing at the top of your lungs and dancing. And some people will look at you, some people might laugh, some people might give you a dirty look, but nothing else is going to happen. They're just going to talk about, oh, some funny person in the shopping center did something silly today, and life goes on, right? So go and plan towards your fears, all right? Plan to go towards your fears. Use it as that beacon. When you feel afraid of something, when you're scared, do it anyway. It's the only way to destroy that fear. And once you face it, you realize it just dissipates. It's gone. And you start to think, why was I ever afraid of that thing in the first place? It never really had as much control as I expected it to. It was all in my head. Right? It was all in my head. It was just something that I'd told myself, and I didn't really understand that it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. As I say, like if you want to get better at public speaking, find maybe like a local Toastmasters group and just start. It doesn't have to be great. The fact, if you take those actions and even stand on the stage and you don't say anything, but you've made that conscious effort and you've stood up in front of everyone under those lights, you're winning. You're already winning. You're facing your fears and you're just melting those controls away. They're taking control of you, and you're gaining back your control of yourself. You never want to be controlled by your fears. Fear, as I said at the beginning, fear is a disease. It can ruin your life. You imagine laying on your deathbed and looking back on your life and thinking how silly it was to be worried about speaking in front of people. You imagine having the regret. I wish I had to push myself further. I wish I had to challenged myself and taken on a bit more of the things that scared me. I wish I had have found where my limits are. You can't know your limits unless you push beyond what you think they are. That's how you learn. And then from there, like your mind is gonna try and stop you if you've been building those habits of constantly telling yourself that you can't do something because it scares you or you're afraid of what the outcome might be. That that fear, if it's associated with danger, you start to see everything you're afraid of as a danger. And then you're avoiding, to a point where some people get so overwhelmed with the fear that they don't even want to go outside their homes anymore. Like you've got to own it. You have to go towards those fears. And when the ultimate outcome that you experience when this occurs is you realize when you control your own mind, you become unstoppable. You're in complete control. If you find anything overwhelming or scary or you're fearful of it, and your experience, you've taught yourself to go towards fear, what can possibly stop you other than death itself? What can possibly get in your way of achieving everything you want to achieve if you've taught yourself to go towards fear? You see it as the opportunity that it truly is, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to be brave, to be courageous, to conquer that fear, to deliver upon, to be the hero that you are. Right? This is that like the hero's journey. Everyone has fear. Every single one of us has a fear of something. All of us. Now, as long as, these fears that you're facing aren't, jeopardizing your life. And I mean, some of them, like I'm talking about bungee jumping, those things, there's those risks involved. And those, by no means am I telling you to do things that you're risking your life. You make your own decisions. So what I want you to take away from this is not, risk your life. What I want you to understand from today's discussion is to face your fears helps you to conquer those negative traits that hold you back in life and allow you to take back control of your own destiny. Right? So you start to see as you build that courage, and what occurs when you start to become more confident and courageous with your decisions and going towards the fear and understanding that you're ready to take it on. Your whole world becomes brighter and so much more opportunity opens up for you. If you are open to stepping out of your comfort zone and trying things that scare you and trying things that frighten you, you've opened doorways for yourself. Are you afraid to start that business, right? You're afraid to break free of being an employee and you want to go out on your own. One of the scariest things you'll ever do, right? It feels like, what happens if my business fails? And I read all the statistics and, 90 odd % of businesses fail within the first 18 months or, whatever these stats are. It's learning. Like if you are afraid to start the business because you don't know if money's going to come in. You had a job before. You could go back and get another one, and you can try again. It's why I know it seems almost like I'm dumbing it down or oversimplifying it, but it really, a lot of the fears that we experience and go through are much smaller than we truly believe they are, and what control we give this tiny little emotion of fear, just this little insignificant thing that's baked into our evolution, our DNA as protecting us, that fight or flight mode. In the society we live in now, most times our fears are not justified. Who could you become? All right, guys, I thank you so much for listening. I hope that at the end of this, you feel energized and you're ready to take on those fears, and you don't let them control you. Take that control that's yours. Be the master of your own destiny. Okay? Once again, this is Wade Vincent, the Forever Better Academy podcast, and I will be back with you guys on another episode next Friday. If you like what I do, if you like the content and you get value from this, please subscribe to the channel. Click on the notifications so you're, notified when I make new videos, and let me know what you want to learn about, what's going to help you on your journey, and I'll do my best to make content that's valuable to you guys and helps you grow on your journey. All right, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you guys. Bye.